This is Walt Disney World Today. Give us 5 minutes and we'll give you the world.
It's Friday, December 15th, 2006, and this is episode number 192, just like Kissimmee, of Walt Disney World Today. I'm Matt Hochberg of MGMstudios.org. On the show today...
Kissimmee?
I was going to just say that.
It's Kissimmee.
Kissimmee.
I say Kissimmee.
Someone's still thinking about last week.
Hey, Len vindicated me.
That's right, I did.
On the show, backing me up as always, it's Len Testa of the Unofficial Guide to Walt Disney World. Welcome, Len.
Who got your back, baby?
You, baby. Woo! And we also have Mr. Mike Scopa of MousePlanet.com. Welcome, Mike.
Okay, let's review. That is seatbelts, carry-on items, safety strap, fear of heights, keep your hand and arms inside at all times, and oh yeah, have a nice flight.
Thank you, Putty. And also on the show is Mr. Mike Newell of Mouse World Radio.
Right.
Welcome, Mike.
Sexy two-top, baby.
Nice.
Testy two tops for sale.
On today's show, we're talking about our memories from MouseFest. MouseFest, well, at the time of this recording, was last week. If you listen to this in August, it was a while ago. But we're going to be discussing what we saw, what happened, some interesting anecdotes, stories, what have you. So, guys, where do we want to start with this?
We do every day. See what happened, if we could recall things that happened on every day that we were there.
So
Well,
you guys actually got there on Wednesday, right?
Yes, Wednesday night. I got there Wednesday night.
Yeah.
Me too. Well, Wednesday morning, actually.
So what did you guys do Wednesday?
Well, we had a Trails End, and Mike and I had a math lesson at Trails End.
That's for sure.
What happened is that we had, correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, we had a Trails End meet, and we had about 14 people there. Well, actually, we had an ADR for 14. Only
Right.
11 showed, and one had a salad bar instead of the whole bar, and the server decided to charge us for 14 people, and we didn't realize that till we started figuring out, and then we said, whoa, it can't be $26 a piece. So it was a little bit of a math lesson. But the interesting thing also, Mike, remember we were riding the bus back to the front, and oh yeah, I know I'm not talking about that. The lady with the hand. Well, we might as well talk about the lady with the hand.
Yeah.
We get on the bus, and there's this woman who is running onto the bus in a panic. She's got her cell phone to her ear, and she's got 3 kids trailing her, with goofy ears or whatever, and she's trying to figure out where to go. I guess she's trying to talk to her husband. So Mike, being the nice guy that I am, said to her, "Ma'am, can I help you?" And Mike, you want to tell everybody what happened?
She puts the cell phone in one ear and puts her hand up to him as saying, "Talk to the hand, mister."
Speak to the hand.
Awesome.
What the hell of a glare.
And that was a running joke for the rest of MouseFest. But the other thing was that I was amazed as to how elaborate the Christmas decorations were on the campsites in Fort Wilderness.
Oh, aren't they amazing? I mean, people have those blow-up things. They've got. I mean, it's like regular home decorations on their trailers.
I thought it was Disney that did that, because like in the corners of I guess they would call them lots, they had these blow-ups.
I stayed in the cabin last year. It was amazing.
Oh, it was fantastic. It was amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I guess when you're there for a month, you can do that. You can set the place up nice. I know I would if I was there for a month.
Yeah.
We also, of course, this was my first time. On Thursday, we ate at Trails End. Newell, was this your first time eating at Trails End also?
Yeah, I had never even heard of it before. This was my first time.
Yeah, what did you think of it, Newell? Because Scopa's eating there, daily.
The food was good. That's why I was there, because he was there.
You can't beat the price, that's for sure.
Absolutely not. And it was, you can walk into that place. I mean, there's no wait, no line whatsoever. It was. I mean, we had Mike. The first night we had 14. The next night we had a big group. The next night.
Well, we had for lunch. We had the whole table. We had about 12 of us, I think, at the table.
I mean, we were just able to go.
Wow.
Yeah, and we were loud though.
Oh, we were loud. We had the whole. Yeah, we were already telling stories, and there were people just leaning over, listening.
We could have recorded that lunch and made a 3-hour show out of that.
Funny.
Yeah, as George Costanza would have said, that's a show.
Exactly.
Well,
we're sitting around.
The first time we were all together at MouseFest was of course at Scopa's Miracle Elixir meet.
Right.
And that was really well attended. I went last year. I mean, you had a fair share of people last year, but this year, I mean,
How many people were there, Len? Yeah, it was like 100 people.
Yeah, I ran out of buttons. And I remember apologizing to people because, gee, I didn't realize there'd be this many people, and it was just amazing. I think what happens is that a lot of people see that as the real kickoff meet for the land portion of MouseFest. Plus, there's that is the beginning of a lot of the Magic Kingdom meets for that day. So it just so happens that a lot of people show up, and for the most part, that's the first time that everybody sees everybody for the first time too.
And Mike,
Yeah, I saw.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead, Newell.
No, I was gonna say, Mike, tell him the real tragedy.
The real tragedy is that as we finished the Dole Whip meet, I'm walking with Fred Block, as Steve Barrett is doing his Hidden Mickey thing, and we get near Pooh's Playful Spot, and I whack Fred on the shoulder, and I said, "Oh my God!" He said, "What's the matter?" I said, "I didn't even have a Dole Whip.
Dole Whip. I didn't either.
I never had one for the whole trip."
I got one for Newell.
Thank
so me
you.
and him at least had one.
Wrong.
It was
You're
delicious.
wrong.
You know, what was interesting for me was meeting two guys I had not met before, Steve Seifert and Chris Eliopoulos, both of which contribute on the show. Steve Seifert's been on the show. Chris does a lot of artwork for us. And Len evidently just I don't know, he's like, look who I found. Like he had him in his pocket or something. And they were really great guys to talk to for a little bit.
Yeah, it was great to finally meet Seifert in person. He's a great guy. I like him a lot.
Yeah, he
And
came up to me too.
his
Real nice
whole
guy.
family's very
Yeah.
nice. I really like Steve quite a bit. But here's
For the-
here's how out of it I was. I had a cold when I was there,
Yep.
so I actually asked Seifert where he was staying when he was in Walt Disney World for Mouse Fest. The guy who runs the Polynesian website. I asked him where he was staying.
Nice.
I swear
Smooth.
to God, it was the cold medication talk. I'm never gonna live that down.
For those who are wondering, I punched Len in the face over MouseFest, and he just had neurosurgery.
Yeah,
so
just
that's
had
why.
sorry. Yeah, so if I sound a little funny, I'd
No surgery.
Matt and I got into this debate over what the best room was at the
Hydrolators.
Animal Kingdom Lodge, and it's
Hydrolators, Len.
he's a hydrolators exactly. and then Chris Eliopoulos was fantastic. He's actually famous outside of the show, and he's got his
He's
own Wikipedia entry. He works for Marvel.
Yeah, he's a
Comics.
comic book artist.
He's an artiste.
Artiste.
And but so he's done some great stuff for us, both for the unofficial guide and for the show. And I must have been like his good luck charm for the show. 'Cause otherwise, I don't understand why he was rubbing my stomach so much. But whatever. But he won one of the Year of a Million Dreams prizes, where he got to stay in the studios late Saturday night, and then he also got to be one of the first to see the previews of the Laugh Floor Comedy Club at the Magic Kingdom.
Awesome.
Not a bad MouseFest.
Not a bad mess. I should have hung out with him. Not that I don't love each and every one of you, but
Uh-huh.
I'm just saying.
We went to, I think everybody except for Len went to the Very Merry Christmas party that night on Thursday, right?
And remind everyone why, because you and I had a date to go to Epcot.
Oh, yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
And then you stood me up
Testafest,
for
yeah.
Testafest.
Festafest, and then you stood me up for someone named Marissa. Marissa.
Anyway, yeah, so we went to Very Merry, and there were roving bands of cast members looking. I mean, they were really adamant about
it's like the gangs of New York.
about the wristbands.
Yeah.
Scopa,
is
what
good.
did you? Yeah, what
Yeah,
did
they
you
should,
find?
yeah.
I thought it was good. We got there about 6:45, 7 o'clock, and as I went into, I was in Town Square. They asked me for my wristband. I said, "Here it is," and I said, "Thank you very much." I want them to check the wristbands. So
They were checking it everywhere.
They were checking in
Yeah.
the stores. You couldn't walk into the stores
Yeah, the
on Main
stores.
Street. Yeah.
That's what it was. I was trying to figure out. I was like, why is there a cast member standing in the entrance to Mickey Star Traders?
Yeah. And the
And-
stores, you can go into one and keep going down the street, being
Yep.
in the store. They had those roped off. You couldn't go from store to store. You had to leave the store, walk down Main Street, and then go in another entrance and then get checked again.
yeah. There. Do you remember, Mike? Remember the one of the cast members who had come up, who I was talking with at Illuminations, who also came to the Dole Whip meet. Her name is Ashley, and
Yes.
I asked her how they were going to handle it, and basically what they said was that guests would be allowed to leave a land and go to the hub, but you could not enter a land unless you had that wristband. And then when you got onto Main Street, you would be asked, and if you didn't have it, you would be escorted out the door. So
Good.
which is good.
Yeah.
That's what you want.
Absolutely.
The only thing that I think they need to improve on at Very Merry was the fireworks show. Talk about uninspiring and almost boring if it wasn't for the fact that there were fireworks going off.
Where did you watch it, Matt? Where'd you watch
From
it?
in front of the Crystal Palace.
Oh, really? And it still is not impressive.
It was just the music doesn't match up with the fireworks, and I don't know. I need storyline. I need intrigue. I mean, Wishes. I would have preferred to have seen regular Wishes. That's good, but Holiday Wishes didn't do anything for me. The music is like they don't even use real Christmas music. They use Disney's like made up Christmas music because I don't know, they don't want to pay the royalties to use like Mariah Carey's version of anything decent. So it's like this.
Mariah Carey.
Well, she's got that one good song, but the other, I mean,
Bing Crosby maybe. But.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, if you want to go back that far, Scopa, yeah. But did you really find that the music was? Did you like the show, Scopa?
No. Well, the problem is that I was at the big Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party meet, which was down in the Rose Garden. So for the last couple of years, I haven't been able to watch the show from in front of the partner statue where I like to watch it. So I can't pass. I can't say it was good or bad. It was just like, oh well, I missed it again. I'm down here and I'm watching the fireworks. So.
Yeah. Friday we started off at Animal Kingdom, and I met up with actually Len. I was waiting in line with my girlfriend. And we're waiting in line. All of a sudden, Len hugs my girlfriend from behind, and he just comes out of nowhere. And we met up with Len over there, and actually, Lou Mangella was also in line with us.
That's
You guys
right.
do
That's
Everest?
right.
Is
And
this
we
for Everest?
totally no. This is the line to get into the park before the park opened.
Oh.
Yeah, we actually got there pretty early.
Yeah, and we totally cut off a lot of people in line, but that's okay because it's Len.
We were saving your spots. I had alerted every single one of them at a time.
And we went to
that was good because we get to Everest, and Don had actually never been on Everest before.
Yeah, Scopa hadn't either. Scopa, tell us about your observations of Everest.
Everest. Well, the thing is that I'm not a big roller coaster guy because I don't think there's much Imagineering that goes into a roller coaster. And I waited all year to ride it, and I decided to ride it while I was down there at Mousefest. I mean, it was okay. I expected a little bit more of a funny feeling on that backwards. You stop off at where the track is supposed to break, and then you go backwards. I expected a little bit of a funnier feeling, but it was okay.
It's a very smooth ride.
I agree with you what you said early on though, Len. That it's like it should be like another 45 seconds long. So
Yeah,
there should be
like
something
another
else
minute
there.
longer would be a great ride. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
And I went through
one more
yeah.
thing.
Yeah, and I don't even remember. Yeah, I mean it's not. I mean I might ride it again. I'm not. I might ride it again, but I think the more interesting meet was Deb Will's Kilimanjaro Safari meet. Because of what happened, we were riding along, and there's one point in the safari where, Disney can control the land animals, but they cannot control the birds.
Right.
And where the alligators were congregating, there were several birds who decided to, we're going to land over here on this, whatever they call it, a bar. And there was an alligator that was coming out of the water, and he was looking at lunch. And it was really interesting to see him almost all the way out of the water. Couldn't have been more than 2 feet away from the bird, and the bird is looking at him and daring him to strike. And I can remember all the women on the vehicle looking and screaming. And Fred Block and I were there, and we were all excited because we're going to see nature,
Yeah.
And the best line of the meet was that if Len was in the vehicle, he would have punctured the tires so that the guy couldn't drive off.
We would have seen it.
We would have seen it first, and that would have been cool. But I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that meet, and Expedition Everest was okay, I guess. I could say I wrote it. Woo.
And Len, I don't know why, it still boggles me, but later that night we had VIP seats at Illuminations and the lower United Kingdom Pavilion. So this is like the best seats I've ever had. And Len passes it up. I don't know what he did to do something. But we had amazing seats. Newell was there.
Yep.
Newell, tell him he was on crack.
Oh yeah, you missed a great spot and a great time.
I mean, I love Illuminations.
This
I
is
did
this
that
is
Sunday
holiday
night.
illuminations, and you
I
missed it.
I wasn't feeling well, and the idea of standing out in the cold for 3 hours wasn't,
Oh, that's right. That was Friday night.
It was a perfect spot
Yeah.
because nothing was blocking the view. It was it was so cool.
Except
Yeah, we
it was
did it,
about 20 degrees.
Yeah, it was
We
cold.
did. I did it Sunday night. The weather was much warmer then. It was like in the 70s Sunday. It was nice.
Thanks.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Well, let's talk about your Star Tours meet, Matt.
Well, the Star Tours meet I thought went pretty well. We didn't quite fit the whole thing. You need about 40, and we had about 30. And of course, a couple people didn't ride because they don't want to ride Star Tours. However, they did show up for the meet. They did show their support, and Lisa was there, who's of course part of Team Scopa. And I thought we had a pretty good time over there going over there. Scopa was our tour guide through the Star Tours queue line, pointing out the hidden Kermit.
Oh,
Which-
I missed that.
Well, I think Scopa took a picture of it,
Oh,
didn't
okay.
you?
I have a picture. I'll send you guys sometime this year.
Yeah, don't expect the picture anytime soon.
But
Get
it's
it in
but
July.
it's the middle of December, so you'll get it this year. One of the things I'd like to give a shout out to Chris and Danielle, who showed up at Matt's Star Tours meet, and they gave me 2 pressed pennies that they had made at the Dole Plantation in Hawaii when they went out to Hawaii this summer. So I want to thank them for that
Wow.
little gift.
Yeah, they were cool. We met them at Podfest, and then we saw them again at the Mega Mouse meet.
Yeah. Our 4 greatest listeners, Chris and Danielle and Josh and Sarah, they came for Star Tours, stayed through Podfest. They were there for like hours.
And there was
Hanging out
Janine
with
too.
us.
She was around. She was
Yeah.
around on Podfest, and we saw her at the Mega
Yep.
Mouse meet. She was cool
Let's-
too.
Let's move on to the Mega Mouse meet so we could kind of focus on this a little bit. I mean, last year there was, that you'd get people and, it was a fairly steady stream. This year, it was just, we never had a break from seeing people who came by the table.
Yeah.
Len, tell the people about the best quote that we heard at the table.
So the best quote that we heard in all of MouseFest was this a listener of ours who we didn't know he was a listener, so we asked him if he'd ever heard the show, and he said, "Oh yeah, I always listen to you guys when I've got nothing better to do."
Talking
like-
about a backhanded compliment.
Yes, exactly, exactly. It was classic. I thought that was the funniest thing anyone said at MouseFest. It was really great seeing all the meeting a lot of the listeners for the
That
for the
was
first
cool.
time. That was just a lot of fun.
And if you listen to the MouseFest episode, which is available online now, you'll hear we actually had a little bit of an audience over there that rooted us on. So next year, I'm really looking forward to having like a real set audience. I want to get like seats and speakers, and I think it'll be a lot of fun. But it was great to see everyone come by and show their support. And there were people wearing WDW Today shirt. The green shirt actually looks good.
The who?
The green shirt, the green Walt Disney World Today
Oh
shirt.
yeah, yeah.
The green shirt.
Yeah, somebody
The
had.
Oh,
green-
yeah, the green one.
WDW
That's
shirt.
right. That's right. Yeah. Wow. That's right. With green, we have green, yellow, pink, white.
The yellow looked good. The pink, they all look good.
Yeah, they all
Oh,
looked
we
great.
got to meet Mary and your mom too, Newell. That was fun.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They were set. They were
Yeah, we
all
met,
set.
we met,
Get
we
to
met
rub Mary's
Newell's
head.
mom.
My mommy was there.
Mom.
Mom, please.
Who else? It was very interesting. I couldn't, if it's hard to explain to people who weren't there, but we never made it beyond like 10 feet from our table. It was just impossible
No.
to like go look at
Yeah.
other people's tables and see other, except for Scopa, who went absolutely crazy. We never saw him. Newell gave him the headphones. He has these portable headphones and portable microphone. We never saw Scopa for the rest of the meet
He
again.
was gone.
Well, I'll tell you, walking across the room, they were paparazzi.
Paparazzi.
And you know what's interesting about those two shows is if you listen to the show from last year's Mouse Fest and the show from this year, last year's show is all Mike interviews authors and table people, everybody that was there.
Webmasters.
This year, it's like 80% or 85% of listeners that we interviewed.
Yeah.
It's mostly the listeners that we got to talk to, which was great. I thought it was fantastic.
I want to take this opportunity before I forget. On Saturday night, we got back to our resort at Animal Kingdom Lodge, and as some of our listeners may or may not know, I got engaged over the weekend, and thank you. And Fred Block sent me a bottle of wine, which was a very nice gesture. I got a
I like
message.
Fred. Fred's
I
a
know,
good guy.
Yeah,
He is a good
that was
guy.
cool.
We got-
Love you,
He's
Fred.
great. I mean, I thanked him for it. But I mean,
And
just,
who is Fred Block, Matt? We got to tell everybody who Fred Block is.
Oh, sure. Fred, if you don't know, Fred Block is the organizer of Magical Meats, which is available at magicalmeats.com.
Magic
In the
Meats.
show
I
notes.
think it's
Magic Meats.
Magic Meats.
Well, there's a link in the show notes, so check that. And he, of course, runs that event in Pennsylvania, which was formerly known as Diz Meats. It happened in Allentown last year. It'll be in Harrisburg this year. So all the information we can find on the website. But really, just a really classy thing to do. And I thank Fred for that wonderful gesture. And speaking of the lodge, Len, I think we were both underwhelmed a little bit by the rooms at the lodge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that says it all right there.
That's it, folks. Good night.
Well,
Say again?
they were small. The rooms themselves were small and dark.
So I think we've said this before. Did I mention that I took Vicodin before the show because of my surgery? Woo! So anyway, so the Animal Kingdom Lodge and the Wilderness Lodge to me are both upscale moderates, rather than deluxes, and I think the room size and the amenities sort of indicate that.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the resort is great. I wouldn't stay there if you're not getting Savannah View, because you're much better spending another resort that has bigger rooms and things like that. I mean, there's just something so cool about being able to go out onto your balcony and see, giraffes and zebras. And I mean, there are a lot of cool things to do, like the night vision goggles was really cool. Len did that 2 nights, and I did that 1 night.
Yeah, that was fun.
It was a lot of fun. But hey, if you've got your own MouseFest memories, then you were there. If not, just make them up. And either way, post them in this episode's show notes so we can read about them. Because I'm sure we missed a big story, and we're all going to read it and be like, oh, I forgot about that story. But that's it for us today. This has been episode 192 Walt Disney World Today. If you want to find older episodes, read our show notes, or send us your comments, visit the Walt Disney World Today website at wdwtoday.com. You can also email us at questions@wdwtoday.com. For Len Testa, Mike Scopa, and Mike Newell, I'm Matt Hochberg. We'll see you on the next show.